Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Tuesday, September 26, 2017. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Joined, as always, on Tuesdays by Duane Long. Dwayne, certainly a more positive vibe this week, thanks to your Buckeyes. We're going to talk plenty today about the quarterback situation. Yes, we saw more, but did we get more answers? We got our first extended look at Dwayne Haskins. 15 of 23, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick 6. Thankfully, UNLV did not put up much of a fight defensively, and he got in there and got plenty of time. This is a guy we've talked about for, good Lord, 3 or 4 years on this show. This is the longest look we've ever had. Just give me your overall impressions of Dwayne Haskins after seeing him throw the ball.
Were we surprised? We knew this kid just was able to anywhere on the field arm. We knew that going in. I just thought he handled himself quite well. You know, the pick 6. Well, I mean, he's a freshman. Those are the things freshmen do. That's why you want experience. You know what comes from that? I can't do that again. You know, I think he tried to fit in a ball that probably shouldn't have been thrown. But I mean, you gotta love what you saw out of the kid. The touchdown passes, the one in particular to C.J. Saunders was just, that's NFL quality. That right there, the NFL would say, yeah, okay, I'm sure that anybody in the NFL associated with the team's personnel department jotted down his name right there. That was something special. He threw the ball well. He threw in the intermediate areas. He threw the ball down the field. He did things that J.T. Barrett has not been doing. Let's be honest about it, Dan. He was just really impressive, you know, and we got to think about the fact that Barrett is a senior, so this is the next generation, and he showed well in his first extended time. We have to keep in mind this was UNLV. I don't know, when's the last time we had a team this bad in Ohio Stadium? I don't know. When's the last time the Shoe hosted such a poor team? So we have to keep it in perspective. But what did he do? He lit them up. That's the thing you have to look at. When you talk about an outmatched opponent, you say, "Oh, did we do what we were supposed to do against them?" Yeah, we kicked the hell out of them. So that's the gist of it. He looked really good.
You know, in pretty much every football town, the backup quarterback is the most popular guy. And then what happens is he gets in the game, and he's not the backup anymore, and he gets exposed a little bit, and then people are off the bandwagon. Do you think Haskins did enough, and he made some other mistakes, do you think he did enough to, when I say expose himself, do you think he did enough to show that he's raw and that Barrett should be in there? Or do you think his arm talent was so tempting that it's going to keep people who want him out, want JT out, but they still want him out?
I think they're still going to want him out, but I think it does not matter. You know, we talked about this last week. Urban Meyer, he does not, I don't know if he believes that JT Barrett can throw us to a championship. I believe he thinks he can lead us to a championship. He's not going to sit Barrett. And Barrett has actually played better the last 2 weeks. Even some of his worst critics said, in particular this past weekend, was his best game in a while, and that's actually the truth. He was throwing sharp. I thought he was getting the ball out of his hands a little bit better, a little bit quicker. I think he threw a couple of balls that I don't know if he would have thrown against Oklahoma. You know, maybe he'll come out of it. I don't know. I always believe that coaching had everything to do with Barrett's demise. But, you know, the first couple of games of the season just made me say, you know what, I don't think that's it. There's just something not right about Barrett. There's something missing. They're still going to be, after watching Haskins throw the ball, there is the pressure is going to amp up as far as the fan base is concerned. I just don't believe Urban Meyer cares what the fans think about this. He's got his man. He's got his leader. He's not going to bench his leader. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with almost everything you said there. I will say I do think that Haskins is different enough from Barrett and that he showed, a different arm talent that Urban would be justified now if he goes to Haskins in a game just for a spark, because they see it. If things are bogged down, he can say to himself, look, Haskins has a chance to get the ball down the field more, blah, blah, blah. We've seen that. So I do think putting him in there for, 23 attempts at least justifies putting him on the field for a spark if needed, if the offense bogs down the road. Okay. This is a bizarre question, but I'm starting to hear this a lot. And obviously we are not saying this guy should be the quarterback right now. But is it possible the best fit for this team at quarterback is currently the fourth stringer in Tate Martell?
Well, we still got the height issue that has to be figured in. But when you're talking about running and throwing the ball, just take the height issue out of it. Yeah, he does things. He's the best fit for the offense that Urban Meyer wants to run. If Kevin Wilson gets to run it, it's going to be Haskins. You can look over his history. Kevin Wilson has not been a guy that ran the quarterback a lot or didn't run the quarterback much at all. So if he has his way, if he's running the offense as he wants to run it, I think Haskins is a fit. But if you're talking about what Urban Meyer wants to do, Tate Martell fits it, or even Emory Jones, who's a little bit bigger kid. Those guys are the better fit. They're the run and passing quarterbacks. Emory Jones is an even better runner than Tate Martell, and that's saying a lot. So, we're going to see what's going to happen. It looks like Haskins has got the nod. I find it very odd that if Burrow had not played, I would say it's still undecided what's going to happen at number 2. But the fact that he went to Haskins first, then to Burrow, then actually back to Haskins, that makes me think that maybe the decision has been made. I mean, Meyer plays a psychological game. He's not going to say anything in a press conference. They used to call Jim Trexler the senator, and I said all coaches are senators. They're not going to tell you anything that they don't really have to. I still think Urban Meyer is going to walk into a press conference, and if asked, has the backup quarterback's decision been made, he's going to say no. But the fact that Haskins was first off the bench makes me think it has been, since Burrow did play too. If the pecking order not changed, it seems like Burrow should have gone in. If he didn't play at all, that would say they just didn't want to risk his thumb yet. But that he did play, and Haskins went in first, that says to me that the decision has been made, hasn't it? That just seems, the guy's coming in second, he's number 2. He's the number 2 on the depth chart. So we'll see going forward.
It definitely looks that way. I don't think there's any question about that right now. That's going to be a whole other interesting subplot going forward if Haskins really is the next guy. And we could break that down, how the Burrow and the Burrow camp will respond to that will be something to watch. But I think Urban, because of the injury to Burrow's hand, has kind of left himself an out here in terms of putting anything in ink. So we shall see. But that's definitely something to watch. All right, we'll finish with this. Dwayne, where do you see the quarterback spot going over the rest of the season?
Well, I absolutely believe Urban Meyer, as long as think about how long he stayed with JT with pretty much the same kind of performance, Dan. 2 years and into this third year as a the last 2 years, 2015, 2016, and now here we are into 2017, and we've seen the same basic performance from Barrett. It's fair to middling most of the time. He'll have bigger games, he'll have worse games, but basically what we've seen so far this year is what you get out of JT Barrett, and he hasn't benched him. So he's not going to. It's just, I understand fans need to vent, and that's what the message board is for, but he's not going to, as long as Barrett does this, there's a lengthy history that Urban Meyer's not going to bench him. So what I see going forward is Barrett, as long as he's playing like this, Urban Meyer is going to stay with him, the backup, because, it's hugely important going into 2018 to get that worked out. That's the more interesting thing is who's number 2 off the bench. I love your idea to bring Haskins in just to change things up, just to do a few different things. He's obviously much more confident throwing the football. He absolutely believes he can put the ball anywhere he wants it, and I think that's big. I think Barrett, one thing he does, he's too busy trying not to make a mistake. And Haskins is fearless. He's going to throw the football. So I love that idea. It gets him seasoned for next year. I hope that happens. We'll see. But I just think that it's futile to think that, considering how long term JT Barrett has been the quarterback that he is right now, and Urban Meyer has not benched him, he's going to bench him.
I think you're right. This has got to be the most interesting quarterback situation, I don't want to say ever and get too hyperbolic here, but if you look at the 5 quarterbacks associated with Ohio State right now, J.T. Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, Joe Burrow, Tate Martell, and then Emory Jones, there are people I trust, and the smart people in football, who support all 5 of them. There's one, I can tell you people who support each one of these guys. I think he should be the starter. So it makes for an interesting situation. It means they've recruited well, but it does mean there's going to be a lot of quarterback drama going forward. That's what we're here for. If you heard the construction in the background, blame my neighbors. Have a good one.